Okay, good day mga ka-logic. Welcome to this video tutorial and mastering sinking fund and amortization in Excel. So, by the way, I am Chris Egamalo, and together with a member of this group, we will going to help you in knowing how to use Excel and creating a sinking fund and amortization schedule. But before that, let's know first what is the key difference between sinking fund and amortization. When we say sinking fund, it talks about saving money. So when we say amortization, it talks about paying your loan. So at the end of this video, you will going to know the concept of sinking fund and amortization. And of course, the most exciting part is you will going to know and how to use Excel in creating sinking fund and amortization schedule. So without any further ado, let's dive in. So when we say sinking fund, as what I've said earlier, it talks about saving money for you to have the amount that you wanted to have in the future. So for the key terms under sinking fund, an example of it would be discussed by Jamela and Ramos.
So here are the key terms under sinking fund: month, beginning or balance, PMT, interest, increase in fund, and outstanding amount. So when we say month, this shows the number of each payment period in order, like first month, second month, and etc. Beginning or balance, this is the amount of money already saved in the sinking fund at the start of the month before adding the new payment. Next is PMT. This is the fixed amount of money you deposit into the sinking fund every period. And next is interest. This is the extra money earned by the fund for that month based on the interest rate. Next, interest in fund. This is the total amount added to the fund for the month, which comes from payment plus interest. And last, outstanding amount. This is the new balance after the month ends, showing how much money is now in the sinking fund.
Hello everyone, my name is Justin Ramos, and in this portion of the video, I will be teaching you how to make a sinking fund schedule. Let's dive right into it. Here we have a problem. The sum of 17,000 will be needed at the end of 10 years. If money can be invested at 8% annually, find the periodic payment and construct a sinking schedule. Before we make our sinking fund schedule, we must first list down our given. Now 17,000 is our future value because it is the amount of money that we want to save after 10 years. So at FP, for future value, we put down 17,000. Enter after this. Now for the present value, in the problem there is no present value stated. So in this cell we just put 0. And so now for the n per stands for n, and the formula for n would be the m multiplied by our t. Now, our m in this problem is annually, which means it is 1. Multiplied by our t, which is 10 years, so we get 10 for n per. So input 10. And now for our rate. The rate that we'll be using here is not the 8% that is over here, because the 8% here is our j. The rate that we need would be the I. In order to get the I, we must first divide our j with 0.08, divide it with our m, which is 1. So if you input that in calculator, the result will still be 8% or 0.08. So we input it here in our cell, 0.08. Press enter. Now for PMT. The PMT is the periodic payment, which is the one that we are looking for. Now it's time for us to get the PMT using the values that is stated here. Now, in order to get it, you must first put an equal sign, type PMT, open parentheses, and follow the order that is stated here. First is the rate, comma, the n per, comma, or PV, comma, and RFV. But before I click on RFV, we must first put a negative sign in order for us to get our desired outcome. click our FD, comma, and 0, and then close parentheses. Tap enter, and now we have our PMT. Before we input and calculate our values here in our schedule, we must first put down our months. Now here in the column of our months, in the first cell, type 1, the second cell, type 2. Now select both cells and drag it until we get 10, which are periods here in our anchor. We click here, put an equal sign, and now put 0. We put 0 because it is the beginning balance, and seeking fund is about saving up the money that you want after a period of time. In the first month, obviously you still have no money because you're still saving up. Now for our PMT, put an equal sign, click our PMT here, and then press enter. Here in the interest, it is the product of our beginning balance and our rate. So you put our equal sign, click our beginning balance, which is in this cell, multiply it to our rate, press enter, and now we got our interest. The increase in fund. Increase in fund is the sum of the PMT and the interest. So we put down an equal sign, click our PMT, put a addition, and then our interest. Press enter, and now we have our increase in fund. Now for the outstanding amount is the sum of our beginning balance and our increase in fund. So put the equal sign, click the cell of our beginning balance, put an addition, and then click our increase in fund. Press enter, and now we have our first outstanding balance. Now in the second month, here in this cell, put an equal sign and click our outstanding amount of the first month. Click it and press enter. Now, here in our PMT, it's still the same process but with a twist. Put an equal sign, click the PMT. Before we tap enter, we put dollar signs in between the letter B. And the dollar sign ensures that the amount or your PMT does not change. Now tap enter, keyboard. Now let's move on to our interest. Remember, interest is the product of our beginning balance and our rate. So put equal sign, click our beginning balance, multiply it to our rate. Now before we tap enter, we put dollar signs in between the letter B here for our rate because the rate does not change and it is a constant. Now once we've done that, press enter, and now we have our interest. Increase in fund. Increase in fund is the sum of our PMT interest. So put equal sign, click PMT, put an addition sign, click the interest, and then press enter. Now for the selling amount, once again, equal sign, our beginning balance, addition to our increase in fund. Click and then enter. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Instead of inputting each value and calculating each one in our schedule, you can just select the row, click and hold this small square in the corner of our row, drag it until we get to the 10th month, and then let go. And there you have it. Our seeking fund schedule is not complete.
Well, in other side, when we say amortization, it talks about paying your loan for you to not be burdened in the future. So again, for the key terms, it would be discussed by Jamela, and for the amortization problem, it would be discussed by Ramos, and how to solve it on Excel.
So let's proceed to the next, which is amortization. So here are the key terms under amortization, which are month, beginning or balance, PMT, interest, principal, and ending balance. So when we say month, this shows the number of each payment period and order. So next is beginning or balance, the amount you still owe at the start of the month. Next is PMT, the fixed payment you make every month. Next is interest, the part of your payment that goes to the lender as a fee for borrowing money. Next is principal, the part of your payment that actually reduces what you owe. And the last is in the ending balance, the amount you still owe after subtracting the principal paid for that month.
Hello everyone, and in this portion of the video, I'll be teaching you how to make an amortization schedule. Here we have a problem. A 59,000 loan at 5% component quarterly to be amortized at paying loan every 3 months. for 2 years. Find the quarterly payment and construct amortization schedule. Let's first list down the given. The 59,000 here is actually is the loan, which means it is a present value. So we input our 59,000 here to its corresponding cell. So we will put 59,000. And per here is actually our M. Like if you remember, the formula for M is our M multiplied by our T. Our M here is quarterly, which means this is 4. Multiplied with our T, which is 2 years, we get 8. Now we input 8 here. So press enter. Now we move on to the next one. The rate. 5% here is not our rate, is our nominal rate. And the rate that we're looking for here is actually the I. And if you remember, the formula for getting I is J over M, which means 0.05 divided by 4, which is our M. Now, if we input that in your calculator, you will get 0.0125. You input that in here in our corresponding cell. You type in 0.012. As you notice in this problem, we are given there is no future value. So here in our corresponding cell for future value, we just input 0 because it is not present. Let's move on to our quarterly payments. Now we will now get our PMT using the given and stated here. In this cell, we input for the equal sign, type in PMT, open parentheses, and follow the order that is stated here. Now by following it, we first click rate, comma, enter, comma, our PV. Now, but before I type in my PV, I will input a negative sign in order for us to get our final result. Input negative sign and click our PV, comma, click our FV, which is 0, comma, and as you've noticed, in the problem, it states that it is to be amortized at the beginning of the repeat month, which means it is annually due. So we type in 1 for beginning of the period. Close parentheses and now click enter. Now let's move on to our amortization schedule. Here, let's first put our periods. Now our periods is 8, so we put down 1, 2 on the next cell, select both, and drag this minuscule box corner and drag it until we get 8. And let go. And now we have 8 periods. Now the beginning balance here is our 59,000. So we type here, we input the equal sign to our cell. Click our present value is 59,000 and now enter. The PMT here is this. So once again we type the equal sign, select our PMT and press enter. Now the interesting thing about annuity due is that first payment usually there is no interest being put. So we just input 0 here in our cell. Now the principal is the difference between our PMT and our interest. So we put down equal sign, click our PMT, and then put minus, subtract, and then click our interest. Now because the interest is 0, the result will be the same as our PMT now. Now for the balance, we once again type our equal sign, select our beginning balance, is 59,000, and subtract it to our principal because the final balance is the difference between the beginning balance and our principal. Tap enter on the keyboard. Now we have our final balance. Move on to the second period. Click the first cell, type the equal sign, and select the balance that we have to enter. Now following the order earlier, first we now type equal sign and click the PMT. But before we actually type enter, we will put dollar signs on both sides of the letter D. We put down the dollar sign because our PMT here is a constant that will not change as the amortization continues. We type enter. And now for the interest. In the second period, we now put interest here in our beginning balance. So first type the equal sign, click our beginning balance, and multiply it to our rate. Now, before we tap enter, we once again will put dollar signs on both sides of the P because our rate here is a constant. It doesn't change. And once we have done that, we now press enter. Now, in the principal, to remember, principal is the difference between our PMT and our interest. So first, we click on PMT, subtract it to our interest, and press enter. Now for the balance. First, we type a equal sign. As you remember, the balance is the difference between our beginning balance and our principal. So we click the cell for the beginning balance, subtract it to our principal, so minus principal and press enter. Now this is where it gets interesting. Instead of manually inputting our values here like I did before, we just select the row, drag it until we get to our 8th period, and then let go. And now the balance has reached 0, which means that our amortization schedule is now complete.
So that's it. We already know what are the concept of amortization and sinking fund. And we already know also how they differ towards each other. And we also know the key on which how we will going to use Excel and creating sinking fund and amortization schedule. So by the way, anyone, I do highly encourage you all to keep practicing and explore on creating sinking fund and amortization schedule in Excel, because you could use it in the future if you wanted to earn money. So that's all. Thank you for watching our video. Bye bye.